Hello everyone, welcome back to Skills Exceed, where we break down the basics of Excel and other IT tools to help you master your work. I'm Abrar, and in today's video, we're diving into two of the most useful Excel functions for data analysis, the COUNTIF and COUNTIFS formulas. Let's start with the COUNTIF formula. This function allows you to count the number of cells that meet a specific condition in a range. Whether you're working with sales data, grades, or any other kind of dataset, COUNTIF can help you quickly find answers. Let's jump into a practical example. Here, we have a simple dataset of sales data for a small business. The data includes the sales rep's name, the product sold, and the number of units sold. Say we want to know how many times a specific product was sold, for instance, product A. This is where COUNTIF comes in handy. To use COUNTIF, you start by selecting the cell where you want your result to appear. Then type equals COUNTIF. The formula has two main arguments, the range and the criteria. For our example, we want to count the number of times product A was sold. So, we'll select the range of cells containing the product names. That's column B. Next, we'll type a comma and then enter the criteria, which in this case is product A. Finally, we close the parentheses and hit enter. And there you have it. The COUNTIF formula has counted the number of times product A appears in our dataset. Now, what if you need to count based on multiple conditions? For example, you want to know how many times product A was sold by a specific sales rep. This is where the COUNTIFS function comes in. The COUNTIFS function works similarly to COUNTIF, but it allows you to apply multiple criteria across different ranges. Let's say we want to count the number of times product A was sold by John Doe. We start by selecting the cell where we want the result. Then, type equals COUNTIFS. The first argument is the range for the first condition, which is the column with the product names, followed by the criteria, which is product A. After that, we add the second condition. The range for this is the column with the sales rep names, and the criteria is John Doe. Close the parentheses and hit enter. And just like that, Excel tells us how many times product A was sold by John Doe. To summarize, the COUNTIF function is great for counting cells that meet a single condition, while COUNTIFS is perfect for when you need to count cells based on multiple criteria. Both functions are structured similarly, but COUNTIFS requires you to input additional ranges and criteria pairs. For instance, if you want to count how many times product A was sold by John Doe with sales greater than 50 units, you would just add another range and criteria like this. Excel will count all the entries that match all of the criteria. Before we wrap up, let's look at some common mistakes people make with these functions. One is not using quotation marks around text criteria. Another is mixing up the ranges and criteria when using COUNTIFs. Make sure the range and its corresponding criteria are aligned correctly. As you can see, correcting these small errors can save you a lot of time and hassle.